Good morning. I'm hosting Coffee with Bob this morning. There's an interesting concept in Scripture called first fruits. It's the first harvest of a crop that was given as an offering to God. Now, imagine what this would really be like. Imagine you're a farmer in Bible times and you have planted a crop of wheat. You've prepared the ground, you've planted the seeds, you've watered, you've pulled weeds, and finally you start to see where there are golden yellow patches in your field. These are your first fruits, and you're called to give them as an offering to God. Well, I cannot help but think that some of those farmers had worries about what that would mean. Because as soon as you give your first fruits away as an offering, then you're back to waiting for the rest of the crop to ripen and be ready for harvest. But so many things could go wrong. I mean, there could be a storm, a hailstorm that would wipe out your crop. There could be insects, or there could be livestock that got loose and damaged your crop. So many things that once you gave your first harvest away, you wouldn't have any harvest left. Now, God didn't need first fruits. So why would God ask that of us? Because God knows that we need that in our lives. We all have a tendency to preserve ourselves, to take care of our needs first. And so we have a tendency, well, I don't want to give the first fruits. I'll give the second fruits. I don't want to give out of this paycheck. I'm going to take care of all the bills, and then I'm going to put money away, and then I'm going to get these things, but I will give out of the next paycheck. The next paycheck comes along and we think of other things that we really need or we feel like we need to prepare for. And so on and so on. We can keep putting it off because we can come up with all these things, all these worries and doubts that we have about the future or our comfort level. And so God asks first fruits. We give first to God because it instills a deep sense of trust that God will provide for us what we truly need. First fruits opens us up. I have found that when I've been willing to give of my time or my money or my material possessions, that sense of openness extends to my heart. I have an ability to see the world differently. When I'm not as focused on myself and I'm more concerned about others, I find it lifts my spirits because I'm outward focused. On the other hand, when I have a tendency just to draw in and worry about what's coming next, I never seem to get beyond myself. I seem to spiral or snowball down. I think of one worry and then the next and the next. We need to give our first fruits. This year, I planted a tomato plant, as I've done for the past several years. Now, I don't know what it is, but I don't have very good success with tomatoes. Now, I'm really good at growing tomato plants. I'm just not good at growing tomato plants that produce tomatoes. This year's harvest consisted of these 2 tomatoes. So I had a small crop, and while these may look like really giant cherry tomatoes, they're not. They're supposed to be beefsteak tomatoes. And so I had a small crop of small tomatoes. For me, these are my first fruits, and given the state of my tomato plant, these are also the last fruits of the season. I couldn't help but, when I was picking these 2 tomatoes, I couldn't help but think of this concept of first fruits and knowing how hard it would be to give away the first of your crop when there's a good reality that there might not be any crop left. But the more we focus on just kind of the things in our own life, it blinds us to the possibilities. The fact is, my husband Chris found a great farmer's stand that has wonderful tomatoes. And for the time that we've had these on the shelf, we've probably eaten 10 to 15 of these wonderful tomatoes from the stand. Now, am I going to grow a tomato plant next year? You bet I am. This is double my harvest from last year. So obviously, I'm doing a little bit better each year. But we'll still probably visit that stand for the really good tomatoes. First fruits means giving quickly and giving your best, whether it be your finances, your possessions, your emotions, or your time, and giving that to God. It helps you discover what really matters in life, the relationships that you have, and it frees your heart for a life that makes a difference. Give your best and give first to God. It's good for your heart. I hope you have a great day. You can join me for Bible study this evening on Facebook, and have a great week.